That we have seen that students are quite comfortable with e-learning environments. They're also quite comfortable with robots. And what we'll find is that increasingly robots show human emotions and actually are programmed to be much more social in nature, a field that's called social robotics. So when that happens, I think that we will see the line between the real and the physical and the virtual and the robotic is very blurry for students. I think that's a very good question. I think absolutely. There has to be a way to measure creativity, and we need to find out new ways to assess creativity. It might be algorithmic, it might not be. Right now, the way algorithms are being used is really through standardized kind of pointers and milestones, and I think in that way we can really scale the education that we give to many students around the world. However, I don't think that it's correct to say that creativity will be suppressed. It may be that we just need to figure out better algorithms. And how do you judge creativity? So if you have a painting or a drawing, really can you say that it's not a good painting? It's so subjective. So in art schools, as you have fewer and fewer children specialize in certain domains, then you will have algorithms being accompanied by human practitioners and teachers as well. I think that, yes, I can. I think that Structuralia from Madrid, which I've been following for a few months now, is a great success story. 10 years ago, it was set up because the CEO realized that construction and private construction, engineering and architecture are going to be a big story of the 21st century. And we know already that over 50% of the population of the world lives in cities. And so he created an online vocational delivery platform. It was actually a blended model. But over 10 years, he's trained over 85,000 people in over 1,500 companies. And it was just bought out by Kaplan last year. So I think that's a great story, and I think we'll see much more e-vocational training platforms. The current barriers to lifelong training are that people have not accepted that the kind of disruptions that are coming in the market, largely due to technology and automation, are going to cause people to more and more look for new jobs and to acquire new skills. The moment people realize that, being a chauffeur is not going to be an option anymore because there will be driverless cars, they will learn to enroll themselves in new kinds of institutions that provide lifelong training. Another issue, another barrier that we see often is just the provision of employee training. So I think less than a quarter of the companies in the US, for instance, provide employee training. We need companies to take on a much more aggressive role in setting up vocational and adult learning centers so that they can get the kind of employees that they really need as they go into next generation products and services. Self-directing learning allows you to find your passion and gives you a lot of confidence in finding the thing and the employment and the job that you want to eventually work on. The problem with following a very standardized linear progression from primary school to college, to get married, to have a mortgage, to send your child to the same primary school, is that you're setting yourself up, if not for failure, for mediocrity. You will not be able to really be on the cutting edge of 21st century leading sectors such as nanotechnology, biotechnology. The fact is that our education systems are not prepared to give this kind of education to children. And the only way to stay ahead of the curve and to deal with labor market disruptions is to actually create your own personal learning network. It was fascinating to me to see how many people from across the world are interested in learning about the application of technology to education. But I was also very impressed with the number of people who are challenging the assumption that technology is always good. Part of my talk was very much about looking at positive and negative externalities. And I think the other panelist on my table spoke about the World Bank and how it gives pushback to generic assumptions that computer labs, for instance, are always good. We have to very carefully use technology as tools, not as an end in itself. And that was very good to see and very useful for me to hear.